doesn't matter. It's coal energy versus solar energy.
Say that again. Say that again.
It's like I'm shoveling coal into a burner rather than like getting clean energy from the sun. And so the doubt, the numbness is often an extension of the doubt because I get the fear or the shame or the sadness or the anger that doubt brings up. And then I, rather than look at it, rather than journal on it, I can go numb myself with, recently it's been anime. I love anime, but it's been that, or it's been video games, or it's been going and working in my yard. Everyone's like, "Oh, your yard looks great," and I'm like, "That is 90% procrastination from doing other stuff." Just so you know, yes, the yard looks beautiful, but that is 90% of that work was me avoiding, facing that empty page on my computer. And then the disengaged and lazy has been this, and I almost wonder if it has two sides, because the disengaged and lazy has also been me embracing the part of me that needs to sharpen the axe before I split wood again. So I have this story that's like, don't be lazy. You need to Gary Vaynerchuk this shit. Like, hustle, blah, blah, blah. Like, what you could do in the next 2 hours could, change everything and get it out of your head, and, action, action, action. And there's this other part of me that's like, but you don't want to do that. Right now, you want to lay down.
Welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ashanti Branch, and I'm really glad you've joined us. Today's guest is Brandon Clift. Brandon is a friend. We go way back. You're going to hear our meeting story and how my trip to Australia, meeting Brandon face to face, and presenting at his old high school, and just how the journey of our connection has grown. And in this conversation, you're going to hear some conversations that in a safe space, but may not always be comfortable. Like, I think sometimes we need a safe space to have uncomfortable conversations. I think most times the reason in this work of talking about men and emotions and feelings and how we feel in our masks is the reason sometimes it's really not easy to do it and people shy away from it is because, first of all, it's uncomfortable, period. But if it's uncomfortable in an environment that's not safe, then danger is on the rise. But if you're in a safe place where you're not worried about being attacked, you're not worried about being judged, you're not worried about somebody taking your words and twisting them, that you get a place to process the things that are maybe complicated, maybe confusing, maybe hard to hear. I hope you have a place like that in your life that you can go and people hear you and see you for you. I hope you have a place in your life that you can go and say, you know what, today I'm upset about these things. I want to be able to talk about it, but I don't want to be judged about it. Can I just have a place to feel what I feel? That means whether it comes to race, whether it comes to politics, whether it comes to society, whether it comes to our norms, we need a place to be able to deal with it in a healthy way. Because what we see over and over again, it shows up in some of the unhealthiest ways, which is then how we use this term of toxic. Now, we don't use that term in this show, but you hear it out there in the world. And the reason we see many men not wanting to have these conversations is because they think that they're going to be told that their identity, that how they are, is a toxic thing. And that's not what we're trying to say here. We're trying to make space for men to have conversations that are maybe sometimes uncomfortable, but that are safe, and that help us see that, man, I see you. Thank you for being a part of this opportunity. Thank you for being a part of this show. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. Thank you for letting me hear how you are feeling right now. And those are the things that are really important for us to be able to do as men in so many contexts. So Um, you're gonna hear some references to soil and gardens, and as I think about the backyard of my home right now, which is not a big area, but a little small little spot. Um, I've loved having a garden, and I've often felt like when I go out in the garden to go and I got right now I got greens and kale and collards growing, or like I feel like I should be doing some work. I sometimes have to like tell myself when I'm in the garden, actually, which is some of my mindset rest time, some of my self care time. I love being in the dirt. I love like cutting plants and replanting them. I love planting seeds. I got some new manzana peppers that are like hot. They're super hot. They have amazing black seeds inside. If you've never seen them, you got to see them. And I remember like trying to get these seeds to grow, and I leave and I don't come back for like 2 weeks, and the pot that I put the seeds in are like, good luck. These ain't growing. And I like, why do these? Well, because you need to be taking care of them daily. But if I go back there every day or every other day, I sometimes feel like I'm wasting time from other stuff that I need to be doing. And so, when do we make time for rest? When do we make time for the things that need to help us to just come back to self? And so, however you are finding time to spend that time of like reset, of rest, of rejuvenation, I hope that you are doing that for yourself. I hope you're doing that for your own soul. I think one of the things Brandon talked about is we have to be able to till the soil to have these hard conversations so that we can then be able to see it and say, oh, now there's some soil ready for these conversations. And all the work we've been doing in these podcasts as we approach episode 100, we're trying to say, how are the seeds working out there? What do we need to do differently? How do we make more context to more people having these conversations? Is it working? And a lot of questions we have behind the scenes is like, okay, how do we make it more efficient, more effective? How do we make it like, what are the things we need to do? And we need your help with that part. So that's the ask for you, is that if you are enjoying these conversations, please let us know. Please write us a review, tell us, send us a message, like let us know, because we ultimately want these conversations to be adding fuel to the field of a mission of making a space for men to be more of their whole, full, authentic selves. So thank you for being a part of today's show. We're so excited for you to hear this episode with Brandon Clift, and I hope you enjoy today's conversation. Take care, folks. See you soon. Brandon and I go way back, maybe 5-6 years. Brandon was the catalyst to my first trip to Australia, and I'm just so glad to have not only known him, but to still know him and to really have a brotherhood with this man. And so, Brandon, welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast.
Great to be here, man. 5-6 years. That blows my mind to think about that. Someone invited me to a screening of the Mask You Live In documentary. It's where I first became aware of you. And I was so moved by that, having come from a private old boys kind of upbringing where the man box, as Tony Porter talks about frequently, right? That was full. Those were the rules. You better be in the man box, or you are not a man, or you are not accepted, or you are not popular. Survival stuff, like you had to be in the man box. And so to witness that, have the message land. I emailed Dr. Niobe Wade, Judy Chu, Tony Porter, Joe Ehrman, yourself, everyone. I just wanted to find out how I could get more involved in this work. And in a matter of minutes, you responded. And that same day I watched that movie, you and I are on a WhatsApp call for like 2 hours. And it's like, oh, you're coming to Australia? Well, you've got to come to the Gold Coast, which was my home city at the time. And to have you come and be there for a live screening of the movie at my school, where I witnessed so much pain, so much pain and confusion in young boys. I think at that time, 6 years hadn't gone by without a suicide at our school, and so it was really such a blessing to have you there, have parents turn up and better understand their boys. Fast forward a couple of years, with your masks movement, I got motivated to start Masks Off Monday. With your permission, I said, hey man, trademark stuff, I don't want to do this without letting you know. And so we do this web show for the ManKind project of Masks Off Mondays, where you were on the first couple episodes. We were just inviting blokes on to our 1.6 million audience on Facebook, and we're like, hey, cool, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're in the NFL, whatever. Masks off. Oh, addicted to porn. No way. So many people who are watching this. Or like, it was so cool to see this conversation go on.
Yeah.
And it all to end up with the ManKind podcast, which I'm very grateful to host with my fellow co-host Paul Newen, Boyce and Hodgson, mate. If it wasn't for you responding to that email and us getting on the phone, none of that, I dare say, would have happened. So thank you, man. Thank you for coming and blessing my life.
Oh man. Well, thank you for inviting me. I think sometimes people will call and I answer the phone because the Everforward number is my number. And so they were like, "Hey, is this you?" I'm like, "Yeah, you called my phone." Like, I'm like, I'm sometimes like in shock that people are shocked that I answer my phone, but I also am just thankful that I get to be a part of a movement, right? I get to part of this thing. And listen, the podcast started. We haven't talked about that story yet. The podcast started on the beach. Like Brandon almost got me arrested in Australia on a beach because we had no permit to be making masks with people. We were like, I carry masks everywhere I go. So we're out there with markers and asking people to make masks. We had some people from Brazil at the point. They were making masks. Like, and then all of a sudden the I don't know what y'all call police over there. They rolled up and they were like, "You got a permit?" And I said, "I got my visa." I don't know what permit we're talking about, but they say, "No, you have to have a permit to be doing stuff like this." I'm like, talking to people? They're like, "No, you can't do activities." I'm like, "Oh." And so I was like, "Okay." And Brandon's from there, so he got a little more swag. And I'm like, "Let's put it away. You ain't about to get me in trouble in this other place." And we made a video after I got kicked out of the beach. And that video was like that first. It was a Monday, and we called it like I think it was at Paradise Surfers Beach.
Yeah,
Surfers Beach.
it was under the Surfers, the iconic Surfers Paradise sign, and my only regret from that was we didn't get a mask from the cop.
Oh my gosh.
That told us to very politely GTFO, get out of here. Yeah, that was with Tom Callow.
That's right. Oh, I've not seen him in a while. I look forward to catching up with him, man. Man, I am that was a memory. I think I found pictures of that the other day, and I tried to send them to you, but I had I think our reconnection happened. Then I was like, look at this. Like that was when I had the hashtag #EverForward shirts. That was one of our first shirt products, and man, just amazing the journey, And I still have the shirt you gave me that I couldn't wear at the time. Like Brandon gave me a shirt. He said, "This is the biggest size I got," and I couldn't even put it on. I couldn't even put my arm in it. And luckily, I get to now wear that shirt proudly, and I'll wear it till it falls apart.
Proud of you, man. Proud of you for. Your health journey was amazing to see that. Because I, as a friend and someone who I feel like you've built a strong connection, to see you giving so much to so many people, and especially these young boys and versioning young men, and to not see you taking care of yourself, it was hard to witness. And I'm like, man, it's not going to be a long game if energetic. Like, you put so much work into this stuff. There's no 40-hour work week for you in what you're doing, and to see you looking healthy and happy, that just fills me with joy, man. Because the longer you are around and on this planet and bringing your best self to this work, the greater impact EverForward's going to have and is having. So, yeah, mate, I hope that shirt becomes a dress for you.
Man, that it was a monumental moment. I remember taking a picture and sharing it with you that when it happened. So thank you for all the work you've done and you continue to do. And I'm excited for the work that we're going to get to do today. Like, this is not making masks. You're this is not new for you, but it's an opportunity for us to do it together. And I think maybe every year or so we have a touch point to like come and check in and really, dive. And normally it's just a private call, you and I, but this is opportunity for, us to just share how men can come together. And even if you've known somebody for a while, you can still get to know them more because there's more and more and more that happens behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that, man. Well, let's do it, man. Let's do it. I got a mask here.
All right. Well, you're the guest, so you get to decide who goes first. You get to decide either I go first or you go first. You decide.
Yeah, brother. Well, hey, you lead the way.
Okay. Well, you me lead the way I choose. Or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, good, good. There we go. Okay, so because I was thinking, I knew that we were going to be talking. I drew a mask that looks like a surfer, a surfboard. Now, for all those surfers out there, don't judge my surfboard, but that's, that's because I've never been on a surfboard. That's my best idea of what a surfboard looks like.
That's what I would call a. I mean, it's somewhere between like, yeah, that's what some people might call a fish, a short and wide board. Believe it or not, there are boards. They're called fishes, and yeah, no, mate, I think that's a good board.
Oh my god, how funny! How funny. Well, the words that are on this mask
Mm,
today, I put funny, serious, hardworking, and
mm,
I added caring at the end because sometimes I've been really trying to put caring first.
mm,
Um, I put funny sometimes first, but I think only people who really get to know me, I think know that I try and be funny. I think I like to keep things light, but I think in my work world, like I'm often really serious and hardworking, and I think caring sometimes gets lost
yeah.
because I'm so passionate about this work. I care a lot. Like I take it really serious. I sometimes take it personal. I take it personal when a school doesn't follow up. When I take it personal when they say, "Hey, we need help for our young people in our school," and then they go radio silence. Because
Yeah.
for me, it's not about the business; it's about the impact. And I think, and what happens is that my serious and hardworking comes out, and I get into that mode. But deep down, my heart is just feeling for those students who are not getting seen or getting noticed because I
Mm,
deep down know what that's like. And so I think caring out, trying like I'm one of my mentors the other day said, Ashanti, we want to invite you to begin leading with care.
mm,
Like I think the caring part of myself had to get shut down for so long in my life. You know, the mask of being tough and strong, growing up in Oakland, California, growing
mm,
up to be a single mother, trying to prove I was tough and I was man enough. I think tough, strong, hardworking. Well, those were the characters that had to get pushed forward.
sure.
And I think I've been really trying to do a lot of work in this part of my life of like let caring lead, even though for most times it doesn't. It feels right, but it often feels sometimes uncomfortable because
Mm,
people are like, "Why are you so nice? Like, why are you? Why you're 6'1", you're 300 pounds? Like, why are you?" What's mixed up in the image that people see and what they expect to come from you. I think when people, even when they first hear me talking, they look at this. Even with teenagers, when I go to schools, they're like, "Who who is this?" Like, right? Because on the outside, there's an image of what they expect me to talk like or be like, and I
yeah.
and I don't match, right? It doesn't match what a lot of the stereotypes say, right? It's clear for me.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's well, you've got that inner narrative, right? That of having to grow up and be tough, right? That survival mechanism that you built. And another friend of mine, Paul, growing up with a single mum, growing up in a predominantly black community, he remembers there were the roles, right? There was the tough guy, don't fuck with me, and then there was the kind of joker, the one that would kind of use word smithing and try and find a way to keep levity and
Yeah,
dodge tough, tricky situations. So
that's right.
some of the work I've been a part of around, like DEI stuff and waking up to whiteness is uh, the common misconception of black men, the angry black guy.
Hmm.
Plus, being you've got a very strong presence. You're tall. You've got a large frame,
Yeah.
and so you're both your inner experience and the external expectation. It's like a dichotomy. It's just like, and then you open up, and so quickly people get to see your heart.
Yeah.
I'm sure it throws some people off. It's
It
like,
does. It
yeah,
does. It definitely throws people at the cafe when I'm leaving. I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much," and they're like, "Oh, what just happened there? Like, what's happening?" Right? And I feel like, am I being overly nice? And sometimes I feel like that pressure too, right? Because I'm
mm,
in this package. Sometimes I feel the need to almost have to be super nice guy so I don't make people feel threatened, right? And
right.
that's a damn. That's probably part of. Maybe I'll add that to the back because I think sometimes that worry of like, yeah, okay. Let me let you share the front because everyone's coming out to the back. I think it's more of things I don't talk about much, but
Right.
it's something I feel a pressure.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Thank
hear
you.
that, man. I hear that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, do you go to your back or do I go to my front?
I think we'll go front, and then I'll go back.
Okay.
Unless
Well,
unless you want to go front back together.
yeah,
You're the
man. No,
guest.
no, man.
Okay.
You showed me yours. I'll show you mine. On the front, it's so wild. Last time I sent in a mask to you about a year ago. It's amazing how different it is.
Mm.
This is what's most alive in me right now. To kind of give context and setting the scene, even what's different about me than a year ago, let alone the 5 years since we first met. I'm in love, engaged, expectant father. So we've got a baby on the way. I have totally embraced hashtag dad life. I mean, you should see the garden. I got my perennials, I got my annuals, I got my dianthus, hydrangeas, forsythias. Like I'm straight up drinking the domesticated man Kool-Aid right now. And what that has, and what's been so interesting about that, it's been a very grounding experience of spending all my life thinking of as me as just one person, one vessel. Now all of a sudden, the conversation has become we and us in relation to my fiance, and it's about to get even bigger with we and us with a new child on the way. So I've been going through this crazy unknowing of what to expect, what's coming. Am I naive to be confident? Am I obnoxious and arrogant to think that I got this? It's just this weird pressure. So this exercise has been really fantastic for me to kind of put pen to paper, get the subjective in my mind and make it objective by putting it down. So on the front,
Nice.
what I want you to see, me, Brandon Clift, what I want you to see is confidence.
Mm.
Uh, that confidence is I just got my shit together, man. Like, don't worry about me. I'm good. I got this. Both hands on the wheel, 10 and 2. Confidence that I'm grounded. You know, I've I've spent less of my life grounded than I ever have not grounded. So it's a weird
Mm.
sensation for me to have my feet on the ground, feet in the dirt, engage the introverted parts of me and my personality,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I recently realized that my extroversion was actually a survival mechanism I created as a kid to be
Mm.
recognized and admired and validated because my dad was always center stage.
Yeah.
If I wanted attention or love or validation, I had to be louder, more entertaining, more funny, totally negating naturally who I am, which is quite an introspective person who likes to be alone a lot. That's about to change. So I want you to see me as grounded,
Yeah.
and then engaged. I want you to see me as engaging, as someone who, when I'm with you, tell me more. What was that like? Um,
Mm.
when sometimes I don't give a shit in that moment. Like in that moment, it's like energy protection, but I got to put on this face of being interested. And sorry to say it, sometimes I couldn't give two what's about what's going on in someone's life. I'm just focused on what's happening for me and mine. So that's the front of my mask currently.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And and that's what I think that's beautiful to be able to speak to it, because I think for people who are like not only have a show but who are doing work with people out in the world, like I wonder sometimes about that. Like, okay, when do you have a moment to take a breath? And like, I think one of the things, because you talked about like self-care, I'm really bad at that. Like I've gotten so good at like helping others that I don't take time to sometimes introspect. I'm thinking about stuff, but I'm thinking about how to be in action. So thank you for speaking
Yeah,
to that, because sometimes
yeah.
I
Can't do that too long, man.
oh
Can't do
man,
that too long because the cup gets empty.
oh man, oh I've felt, I've seen and felt and experienced an empty cup, and like wondering like what is going on, and I realized, oh, I'm exhausted, but I'm trying to keep going. I'm like running on fumes, right? And I
Yeah,
think that's part of the work. And I think I've been hearing messages coming to me lately is like, you need to speak about this journey of how entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship for sure, is hard. I think we always hear about the success stories of people who got the $1 million grant, and I watch it. I'm like, but where? Okay, how do you get to this phase? Because this phase I'm in ain't nowhere near that. Like, how do you? And no one's talking about this phase where luckily I only have a rectangle here. You can't see my desk, but my desk is a mess. Like,
No, yeah.
it's probably piled up like almost this high. Like, no, it's
Yeah,
not. Kind of
because
close.
when the people get the grant, they talk about the grant. They don't necessarily, or not that they don't, but
Yeah,
people around them talk about the grant
exactly.
versus the 10,000 hours that made that grant possible. It wasn't just someone came together with some really good words
Oh man,
that convinced someone to give them grant money. It's like, no, they spent time in the trenches.
that's
And
right.
so if we can have more conversations around that trench time of
Yeah.
like knee high in the mud, left foot, right foot, boots are full of water,
Oh
like
man.
that'll normalize the experience, I do
And
believe.
the left foot is tripping the right foot. You're like, why am I tripping
Yeah.
myself up in this? What's going on? You're supposed to be working together here. Why are you tripping yourself up? Right? Like,
Preach.
exactly. I think and so I think I've been called to tell that, and that's so hard when I'm like, hey, today was horrible. Today we're losing a team member. Today I got to figure out how, like that is such a hard video to make, even though I know it's real, even though it's true. And I do it in my morning pages. I talk about all the craziness, but I don't like help others who are struggling through it, right? Because I think sometimes, and I think when we celebrate good news, I sometimes even feel awkward about sharing the good news sometimes because I'm like, yeah, but that's gonna seem so like, and so I have these like two parts that I'm,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I also want to share F that because, dude, you'd be putting on a mask otherwise.
oh, well, yes, oh,
Yeah, putting on a mask otherwise.
it
Like,
is,
I watch these videos of like hustling over here, 2 a.m, sixth cup of coffee. When really what I want to hear and what will get me more bought into that person's journey is if they're
yeah,
like, man, I'm freaking out. I got a
yeah,
proposal due
yeah,
tomorrow. I'm totally unprepared. And I understand
hmm,
professionally why some people won't post that stuff, but like,
right,
that's what I want to know. I want to
yeah,
know
yeah,
that someone ate shit
yeah,
to as
yeah,
well
yeah, yeah, yeah,
as I am right now or have in
yeah.
the past.
And I made those videos, and you know where they are still? Right there in the phone, right? I've made them, and I'm like, I'm not sharing that, right? And I think what I've been called, like what I was saying, I've been called lately in this moment of like, help people see the journey,
Yeah.
help people see that it's not all the success, or it just splotches along. Like when people read my bio, I've always say at the end, like I'm like, I just want you to know that that's the highlight reel because
Yeah.
here's what happened in the last 2 days, and I'll tell them something that happened over the last week or whatever because I want them to be really clear. Like I wrote that bio, I wrote that highlight reel, but that's not how I see my life on a daily basis. I see the chaos, the confusion, the worry, the doubt, the back. I see the back of the mask so much more than I see the front. Than I see the highlights. And I think that I want help. I want to help people with that. And I think I've been just afraid. I think that's the next part of this coming to the back, right? Like, um,
Good segue.
oh,
Good
beautiful.
segue.
Oh man, you just said it. I think I was actually having like, what do I write on the back? Like, that's something that we haven't already kind of talked about, and I'm gonna. I think I just said it. I just doubted. I'm writing it now. So
Mm.
here at the back, and pain, fear, and doubt. Pain,
Mm.
fear, and doubt. And I think when I think about pain, like recently I've been having some lower back pain, and like I don't really like doctors. And I made a commitment to like one of my men's teams that, okay, go get an appointment, go make an appointment. And I've like twice I lied. I said I was gonna make the appointment. Well, I planned to make the appointment, and I didn't. So I just called it a lie. I didn't keep my word. I was not accountable to my word. And then the next week I came back and they're like, "You make the appointment." I'm like, "Oh yeah, but I'm gonna make a commitment, clean my mistake, my non-committal up." And I just like I in my mind, I think deep down, and I feel it right now. So I think like I'm worried about what the pain is coming from. So it's not it doesn't make, it's not as intelligent to not go get it checked out. I have insurance for that reason to get it checked out, right? And so there's fear. And I have a young man who's dealing with some same pain. And I remember actually in this moment, I remember my conversation to him, like, dude, go make the appointment. What are you doing? I'll go with you. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is what I was telling him. And now in this moment, feel why he was afraid to go get checked out, why he was afraid, because he's worried about what he's going to hear. And I realized, actually, right now, I've made the connection to me mentoring a young man who's going through some pain, trying to support him and realizing why he was resistant. And I always get a chance to learn my own lessons in this work, right? In this work of a mentor, in this work of, like, I get to learn my own lessons for myself. Like, oh, you see why it's so hard? Because it is hard. And so I need to, like, call him today and tell him I know what it felt like when I was pushing him and prodding him because I'm having the same feeling. So that's pain, and I guess that's connected to the fear, but
Yeah.
fear of, like, and I fear of a lot of things, fear of maybe disappointment that I got to go make, but also fear of failure, fear of success, maybe fear of being overcommitted, fear of not being able to retire because I'm running a nonprofit and I haven't structured a lot of things to make it okay to or to have a retirement plan.
Mm.
Um, and then doubt, like like I believe this is the work I'm supposed to be doing, but I sometimes doubt that I'm supposed to kind of not ever have a lifestyle that I've dreamed of. Like I don't think I dreamed of a lifestyle that I dream of for just for vanity. I dreamed of it because I don't want to worry about being able to just go on a vacation. I don't want to worry about. I want to be able to. So sometimes I doubt, like, okay, what am I do? What do I need to? I don't know if it's doubt so much, but it is doubt. Doubt is a word that's popping up. I don't have a really good explanation for it right now, but that's the back of my mask. I'll stop right there. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, man. You spoke for me a lot during that. On the back of my mask, I've got doubt. I've got numbing, and numb for me also could be running away from feelings.
Yeah.
And I've got disengaged/lazy. So it's interesting if you compare it to the front of my mask. On the front, you got confidence. On the back, you got doubt. On the front, you've got grounded. On the back, you've got numb. And on the front, you've got engaged. On the back, you've got disengaged and lazy. And I sometimes, and this is very, this moves, this changes, this flows day to day. But it's alive right now. What I know to be true right now is that some of my doubt comes from this underlying story that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy. Who am I to host the ManKind podcast? Who am I to write this email broadcast to, a list of 300 prospective men that want to get involved in men's work? Like, who am I to do this stuff? And I can have all the people around me, cheering me on. Why not you, Brandon? Why not you? Right? But if it doesn't come from me, man, then it's not. It's not. Doesn't matter. It's coal energy versus solar energy.
Say that again. Say that again.
It's like I'm shoveling coal into a burner rather than like getting clean energy from the sun. And so the doubt, the numbness is often an extension of the doubt because I get the fear or the shame or the sadness or the anger that doubt brings up. And then rather than look at it, rather than journal on it, I can go numb myself with, recently it's been anime. I love anime, but it's been that, or it's been video games, or it's been going and working in my yard. Everyone's like, oh, your yard looks great. And I'm like, that is 90% procrastination from doing other stuff, just so you know. Yes, the yard looks beautiful, but that is 90% of that work was me avoiding, facing that empty page on my computer. And then the disengaged and lazy has been this, and I almost wonder if it has two sides, because the disengaged and lazy has also been me embracing the part of me that needs to sharpen the axe before I split wood again. So I have this story that's like, don't be lazy. You need to Gary Vaynerchuk this shit. Like, hustle, blah, blah, blah. Like, what you could do in the next 2 hours could, change everything and get it out of your head and, action, action, action. And then there's this other part of me that's like, but you don't want to do that. Right now, you want to lay down. You want to recover from these nasty ass pollen related allergies that I'm getting, which I've never had in my life till I moved to Tennessee. Goodness gracious me. I feel like I'm huffing this stuff every day. I can't even open my eyes. So I just, that's what's alive right now, is that the desire to not do much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all that being said, although some of the doubt, the numbing, the disengaged, and laziness is alive in the back of my mask, I can also clear as day call out some of the bullshit in that story and be like, well, your calendar says another story, and the results of the past month's work tells another story. So kind of having the grace to know that the mask can come on. More often than not, the mask is a survival mechanism for me. It's just allowing me, it's serving a purpose to allow me to get through this interaction, this engagement, this party, this wedding that we're a part of. Like it's just enough to get me through, so long as I have a ritual and a way to take it off when I'm around the ones that matter to me the most.
Yeah. Man. Take a breath there, man. Thank you. And what I wonder, maybe as you've been doing this work, I don't know, are you in a circle now? Are you in a circle? You sit in a circle with men now?
We just started Chattanooga's first non-denominational men's group. And by non-denominational, I mean it's not associated to Christianity, which I'm grateful those groups are out there, but we're in a town of 200,000 people, and every single group I ever found was faith-based. And there is a humongous amount of men, faith-based and not faith-based, that don't want to connect over the Bible. They don't want to connect over that stuff. They want to connect over what's impacting them as a man, totally separate from the teachings of Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
So we've just had our second circle, and I believe I found my core group that want to see this through. And so, yeah, to answer your question, I have that group. I also have various virtual circles that I, work alongside and check in with frequently. So that's a huge, huge part of what allows me to take the mask off.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I think, what we've tried to create here is a space for men to have these conversations, me and a guest. And sometimes we have a young man who's now, he's in high school. He's now having conversation with other teenagers. Like, what would it be like to help young men more? Like, maybe just because you've been doing this men's work for a while, like, I think there's still so many men out there who've never had a space, right? Who've never had a space to like take off that emotional mask.
Yeah.
And I think that, probably all these organizations that have popped up, since you and I met, there's been a lot of organizations that, when I say popped up, maybe they already existed, but I didn't know about them at the time. So we know that there's a need because there's these organizations who are kind of growing out of this need. But maybe for the people you talk to, why do you think it's so hard for men to do that? And I think even in your podcast, you talk to a lot of guests around why it's so hard for men to either open up or to begin exploring the idea that it's possible to not have to keep it all in. Do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on that. And, my thoughts today don't necessarily reflect my thoughts a year ago or what they're going to be in a year. Yeah. But I did an interview recently with a guy named Dene Maria Sebastiana. He's been in the ManKind project for 30 plus years, and he's a master initiator of men, I will say. He's been my Yoda for a long time. And he said in our interview that from the crib, men have been raised not to feel. We've been raised to be hard soldiers. that are meant to sacrifice our bodies for someone else's cause.
Yeah.
And whether that's sacrifice our bodies as protector providers, whether that's sacrifice our bodies through mental health because we're not allowed to show weakness. If we show weakness, everything crumbles like a house of cards.
Yeah.
So why I think it's tough for men to share is we have been set up not to. We've been taught not to. You know, the man box, don't be weak, don't be a pussy, don't be gay, don't be all these things that we learn on the playground
Yeah.
that we think stays at the playground. No, that stuff makes it all the way up into C-suite rooms of, you know, big corporations, Fortune 50s. Like that same narrative and belief system that men are allowed to think but not allowed to feel, and that women are allowed to feel but not allowed to think, is an old and it's an old narrative that I think is, you know, I hope is on its way out, knowing that we as men, women, non-binary folk are so unique, man. 7.5 billion of us. No one's walked in your shoes, Ashanti. They might look like you. They might have grown up in Oakland, single mom, all those things. No, no one has walked in your shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot to play with here. There's a lot to acknowledge, and so what I feel like works best for me in connecting with men and getting them into a circle like the one I host, or get them into the ManKind project, is to just ask questions and see where they're at in life. And I try and avoid to avoid being polarizing, because it seems like what I'm witnessing is you've got, and I'm setting up a binary when I say this, so I understand that may not even be helpful, but one side of men are saying, you know, don't be a beta bitch, don't be a simp, and whatever that means.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like reclaiming this alpha status. We've let women get too far along or whatever. You know, we need to be dominating and control, regain our power and control.
Yeah.
And then there's a different narrative, which is, you know, don't be toxic in your masculinity, which I'm sorry, man, that is so misused and weaponized as a method to make men feel shame.
Yeah.
Where, I'm sorry, if you got a penis, a vagina, you identify as cisgendered male, or you identify as male even though you or identify as trans, we all have access to masculinity and femininity. It is not specific to gender. Sure, men have testosterone, and that might give them a bit more access to the masculine. Because of that, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, when I talk to people all the time, and they go, they throw out toxic masculinity because they hear about what I do, and the lowest hanging fruit to them, based on the conversations happening in whatever media channels they watch, is toxic masculinity. And I ask them, what do you think that means? 9 times out of 10, they say men.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say men. And I go, well, that's not fair, and that's not true. Perhaps the greater majority of those perpetrating these perhaps negative characteristics of masculinity are men. Perhaps. But I think we as human beings have this part of our brain that tries to sort things in black and white. You know, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Okay, no arguments there. Gravity, cool, no arguments there.
Right.
The earth is round or flat. That's when people start to get a bit. I say that as a joke, but when it comes to toxic masculinity, the easiest thing my juvenile brain can do, that's only ever heard of this phrase once, or trying to understand the world and trying not to get lost in the no man's land of this debate, right? We want connection, right? So we want to feel like we're a part of something or a tribe, whether that's a political ideology or religious ideology, whether it's, oh, what do you know? Now I'm the bloke calling people beta bitches and simps. Or no, I'm the guy saying men need to stop being toxic masculines or whatever. Our black and white thinking wants to go toxic masculinity. Well, that just means men. That just means men. So if I'm explaining something to someone who identifies as female, regardless of the context, mansplainer, you just mansplaining? Oh gosh, well, I wasn't aware that I was. Thank you for bringing that to my awareness. Can you give me a deeper insight into what you mean by that? Right? You know, we have these things that we weaponize and we throw at people, and it's it only creates greater disconnect. Now, how this relates to your previous question, men not, feeling capable of coming to men's circle or not capable of uh, opening up and sharing,
Yeah.
is because with all of what I just said, it's dangerous to share.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I share, I'm at risk of losing connection to those who, we frequently call each other pussies or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm out of that tribe, so I'm in the no man's land, or I'm kicked out of the tribe. Saber-toothed tiger is around the corner, going to get me because I don't have the power of numbers anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or on the other side, right? It's I'm going to be hard and macho and whatever, like shut down, hide the emotions, and now I'm called a toxic masculine, or perhaps someone might say that I'm a misogynist or a racist or whatever the debate and the lines where they get very blurred, wherever that's happening.
Yeah.
Men go, oh well, if I share an opinion or open up, then I'm at risk of losing all connection.
That's right. That's right.
All connection.
That's right.
And so, what if I think back to an instructor I had when I did I did a powerful course through the ManKind project called Power, Privilege, and Unpacking Power, Privilege, and Difference.
Yeah.
And a man by the name of Henry Thurman. What I love about this is you got a group of generally white guys being facilitated by a straight white guy, a black man, black woman, and a trans man, trans queer man.
Yeah.
And it's a space where white men can go, how do I build a relationship with a black guy while I'm trying to do my racist work or whatever? And he goes, tell me something you like. Guy goes, soccer. Cool. Do you think there's a man out there who doesn't look like you who likes soccer too? Start there. Start there. Be human. Connect.
Yeah.
Connect on something that you can relate over.
That's
right.
That's right.
And so that's what I love about men's group, which is you vote Trump, don't care. You vote Biden, don't care.
Yeah.
Let's connect. Our Venn diagram crosses over more than it doesn't.
Yeah.
The only stuff that doesn't cross over might be our political beliefs, might be religion, whatever. We as human beings can relate on so many more things. So I'm not going to say to someone going through a hard time, you need a men's group. I'm going to get to know them.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to know them and be like, after that time and that investment of building a relationship, I can then go, hey man, you open to some support around that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to force feed this stuff down someone's throat.
That's right. That's right. I really liked what you talked about when you talked about the toxic part, because I don't use that term either, because I think exactly what you said, when a lot of men hear that, they hear men are toxic. And I think that is a misunderstanding and it's a mischaracterization. And so I've chosen just not to. So when someone uses it, and I'll say, I've chosen not to use that for these reasons, because I think that it isolates people from the conversation, right? And then for those younger men who are out there on the social medias telling other young men, don't be buying no flowers, don't be all the things you talked about. What I often see is they're trying to live up to an image by somebody either in their community, their life, or what they think is popular.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is the idea of conversation, what we're trying to have is like, where do you get to be your full self? Like you talked about, right? Where do you get to be more of your full self? And maybe you get to be part of your full self, but there's so many more things. So listen, man, we could talk forever. I'm so glad that we made this time for this conversation. And look, I think that, the Taking Off the Mask podcast has been a journey of being at Surfer's Paradise and coming all full circle back to here and continuing to do the work around these emotional masks. So what I want people to be able to know is is there any last message you want to give before I ask you to tell people how they can find you, follow you, or learn about the work you're doing out in the world? I would love to do that as we get ready to close, brother.
Yeah, for sure. I have one thing I want to share. The past couple interviews I've been doing for the ManKind podcast, and I love how cool, man, your guest list and my guest list, like there's so much crossover. Alex Gabby, Justin Baldoni. I'd love to get Lewis Howes. That'd be a big one. Kudos, sir. That's amazing, and you deserve it. Trust me.
Oh man.
But these interviews I've been having recently have been so powerful, and the only thing I can put that down to is uh, a willingness to get on some scary branches and have these conversations. The it was tough for me having a guy like Le Manoir come onto the podcast. And for those who don't know, Le Manoir created a very powerful, he's a documentarian, storyteller, facilitator, and he created a powerful movie series. And I apologize if I get this title wrong again. The Color of Fear, right? Or The
Mm.
Fear of Color, you know the one?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the color of fear. Yeah.
Yeah, powerful, man, powerful. And I have this guy come on my podcast knowing he's going to ask me questions that expose my racist assumptions and biases. It's going to expose my racism. And man, I was shitting my britches coming into this conversation. I was looking for my really close black friends in life to rescue me from this feeling. How do I prepare for this? And it was like, no, just lean in, answer the questions honestly,
Yeah.
answer them honestly. And what came from that was after that interview, and I was white. I was going, oh my gosh, I can't believe people are going to hear this about me. All this shame, right? And so my last cry for help was to get my co-host Paul Newell to listen to the episode and give me feedback. And it was so cool when I said, so what'd you think, man? What'd you think about what I said? And he's like, it's nothing newer than what I've already known, dude. Like, I fucking know that that white people a lot will wonder if I'm educated based on the color of my skin. Will wonder these things, right? He goes, what you've done though is by leaning into that uncomfortable situation in a safe environment.
Yeah.
Not a comfortable, but a safe environment.
Yeah.
Which comes back to why it's important to have conversations like this and
That's
be in
right.
circle, be in group, right?
That's right.
He said, now that you have owned that, we now have fertile soil. You tilled the soil to be able to continue this conversation, and now we have greater trust between one another, just to own what was already known, right? And so, to answer your question of a message I want to leave is, look, do the work. What is the work? I can't tell you. It's your work. Whatever's alive in you. But what I do know about that work is it's digging up that which I've hidden, repressed, and denied. The shadowy shit that I don't want anyone to know about me. I don't want them to know my racial judgments or biases. I don't want them to know my sexist thoughts and opinions. I don't want anyone to know that stuff. But if I know them, if I know them, I can do my work around it so that it doesn't turn up as much. Put a light on it. It all comes back to doing the work.
Man. And for this man, brother Brandon Clift, who has an amazing garden, not only is he tilling the soil in the yard, but he's tilling the soil in his heart. And I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for being a man who's willing to do the work. And I think that's what I've known you as is when we first met, and I continue to always cheer you on over here. So thank you. And would you want to tell folks where they can find your podcast? You mentioned it, but can they find it? What's the full name of it?
Absolutely. So the ManKind podcast, remove the when you look at it. ManKind podcast, mankind being one word. Our show is, it's an extension of the, Mask Off Monday, which Ashanti inspired. And Ashanti is one of our earliest interviews on this show. We're now at 71 episodes. Our mission is to break the molds of modern manhood, to prove there's more than one way to be a man. Right? We're about breaking down the man box and telling people that here's the rules of being a man. Don't be weak, right? Dominate others. Be the man. No, we're proving that is not the case. And you are going to be introduced to researchers, thought leaders, authors, regular Joes and laymen like myself that are achieving amazing things in this world. And they don't fit that old mold of what it means to be a man. And it's so powerful to see and embrace and highlight the difference in all of us, regardless of gender, regardless of our political feelings and opinions. We are so nuanced as individuals, and that's what we want to bring to the show is guys and gals and non-binary folk that you didn't even know were out there that are doing amazing work, that are doing the heavy lifting so you don't have to, right? So we can have these conversations so you don't have to. If you want to listen to my episode with Le Manoir, listen to it. It's uncomfortable, but shit, it's powerful. And perhaps I can do some of the heavy lifting around your racism, right? And your biases and assumptions. So we want to make sure this podcast is all about going out on skinny branches, having the conversations that others they want to have, but perhaps aren't willing to have.
That's right.
So it's a fun show. It constantly requires me to up my game and do my work. So I feel like me, Boyson, and Paul have evolved as the show has. And yeah, man, we want to bring world-class content to our listeners, and I believe our numbers are reflecting that.
Well, man. Well, I'm so excited for you and the work you're doing. And folks, you know, Brandon and I shared our masks here publicly, but you can do yours anonymously at millionmask.org. We thank you for being a part of the show. Brandon, thank you. Good to see you again, brother. And look forward to even more conversation in the future.
Yeah, brother. Can't wait to have you back on the podcast.
Looking forward to
it. Thanks for having me, man. This has been amazing.
I had a great time talking to you again, man. Taking Off the Mask podcast is produced by Ryan Louie. Editing, videography is also by Ryan Louie. Graphics by Kelly Wong. And a special thanks to the team at Ever Forward, Vanessa Cortez and Kevin Romero. And I'd like to thank everyone who's been a part of the creation of this podcast. As we hit this 1-year anniversary, we hope that everyone who's been a part knows that they're a part of the Taking Off the Mask experience. And we look forward to you being a part of it as well. If you liked what you heard today, please like, subscribe, and share. And we look forward to us continuing to offer conversations that matter. Take care. See you soon.